Hello there and welcome to Kakaaki, the African Voice on Africa Independent Television, AIT. My name is Kunle Adewale and it's nice being with you again this morning. It is the 30th day of July 2026 and how time flies, the month is almost over. And of course, we need to tell you what we have for you this morning. And you know, the concerns over fuel prices have turned many people across the globe into watchers and analysts of the situation in the Gulf, where tensions have escalated again when hopes for a ceasefire seemed imminent. Prices jumped by over 3% in early trading following reports from U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, that it intercepted multiple ballistic missiles launched by Iranian forces at U.S. bases. The sudden surge reversed a brief 5% plunge seen earlier in the week when a temporary pause in hostilities raised hopes for diplomacy. While the ding-dong in global crude oil prices continue, the petrol depot prices dipped across major supply centers in Nigeria on Tuesday as marketers implemented fresh price cuts, signaling increased competition in the downstream petroleum market. The outcome of this, a minimal drop in the average pump price to about 1,250 naira per litre. Another major fuel price talking point was the Dangote refinery seemingly dumping the naira for crude agreement and quoting prices in US dollars. A decision some analysts say was as a result of perceived shortage in available crude oil for refining. So this led to the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, to call on the federal government to direct the immediate resumption of full commercial production at the nation's government-owned refineries to prevent the petroleum products markets being built around a single dominant supplier. We'll be joined on the program this Thursday by the national president of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association, Petron, to address the issues and also tell us why Nigeria recorded the sharpest increase in petrol prices across Africa during the first half of 2026. Now from there, we'll move on to healthcare, and our focus on the program today is on a new and fast-growing approach to staying healthy. It's called Holistic Functional Medicine and is a modern healthcare approach focusing on root cause resolution, personalized testing, and a systems biology approach to treat the whole person rather than just masking symptoms. It looks deep into why an illness starts instead of only treating the surface signs, and also treats the mind, body, and spirit as one connected system, using advanced and detailed lab work to find hidden imbalances. It also comes up with food plans made just for your body's unique needs. Holistic Functional Medicine also recommends patterns of stress control, better sleep, and regular movement. Treatments are usually in the form of targeted vitamins, herbs, and supplements. Practitioners typically design individualized wellness plans around core areas such as root cause resolution, advanced diagnostics, personalized interventions. More and more people across the globe are connecting to this interesting and effective form of healthcare, and that's why on Kakaaki, the African Voice this Thursday, we've brought a leading Nigerian holistic functional medicine practitioner, Dr. Kingsley Kubari. Dr. Kubari is a chiropractic specialist, nutrition expert, herbal medicine practitioner, and founder of Kabari Wellness Institute, where popular philosophy is nature first, drug last, which has inspired thousands to take control of their health through prevention, nutrition, lifestyle medicine, and evidence-informed natural healthcare. He'll be telling us all about it, including the special wellness events the Institute will be holding at the weekend in Abuja. All of these and more coming up later on the program. But let's remind you that you can be part of the program too by sending your views and comments to all our social media handles on Facebook, X, Instagram, and of course on YouTube at Africa Independent TV. That's where you'll find us. It will help you to stay up to date with the latest news from around the globe. Talking about the latest news, Kakaaki World News comes up right after this break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is the World News on Kakaaki, the African Voice, and we start from Turkey, where firefighters battled wildfires on Wednesday near the country's southern tourist beaches that have forced the evacuation of hundreds of people. Hundreds of firefighters went up against the biggest fire in Mugla province, with more than 20 planes and helicopters burning water on the flames. Media reports said the main highway from the tourist city to Antalya to the beach resort of Fethiye had been closed because of the smoke. NTV television said that access to the ancient ruins at Olympos in Antalya province had been closed. In Mugla province, the wildfire started on agricultural land and spread to a forest. It added that 202 residents and some patients from a hospital had been evacuated. In the meantime, 3 firefighters died battling forest blazes in Greece on Wednesday as several other fires broke out around the country, fed by gale force winds. The fire department said 2 firefighters had died on the island of Crete during an operation to contain a rural forest fire. A 3rd firefighter was found unconscious near the Peloponnese port of Giteo. A fire department spokesman told media with reports saying he had died of pathological causes. State TV ERT said the 2 men on Crete had been trapped by the flames in their fire engine in the foothills of a mountain near the western city of Rethymno. Local municipal official Sifis Vavourakis told ERT the fire front near Rethymno was over 15 kilometers long and was out of control. Over 150 firefighters and 8 aircraft had been dispatched. And thousands of Spaniards evacuated during massive wildfires started to return home on Wednesday, as the government said it was working to contain some of the worst forest fires in the country's modern history. Late on Tuesday, the government lifted evacuation orders on more than a dozen municipalities in the Madrid and Avia areas, the center of wildfires that displaced tens of thousands of people.
According to the central government delegates to the region, Francisco Aguirre, 24,000 evacuated individuals have been able to return to their homes, and another 20,000 have been released from confinement in the community of Madrid. Aguirre said work continues to consolidate the progress made throughout the day in tackling the fire. The return of evacuees is proceeding without incident. On Wednesday morning, the area around the village of Aldea del Francisco, where residents were able to return after the evacuation order ended, was still shrouded in smoke and a strong smell of burning hung in the air. High winds and the new heat wave have complicated Spain's effort to battle the fires that have consumed around 77,000 hectares, an area almost the size of New York City. The central government's Madrid delegate office said on Wednesday that better overnight weather conditions had helped crews reduce the intensity of the fires and stabilize their perimeters. Interior Minister Fernando Malasca told reporters on Tuesday that firefighters were containing the fires, but work on Wednesday would aim to stabilize and extinguish all the flames if possible. A similar easing of evacuations and restrictions was already implemented in the western area of the Castilian near Valencia, where the municipal of Val do lifted a confinement order for residents on Tuesday. According to the European Forest Fire Information System, forest fires have scorched 207,000 hectares nationwide in Spain so far this year, among the worst on record for the January to July period.
Rescuers are struggling to reach survivors feared trapped in a wreckage after a major earthquake in Japan destroyed a shopping mall and killed at least 13 people. The 7.1 magnitude tremor on Tuesday night flattened homes, triggered fires, and ruptured bridges, leaving tens of thousands without power in the southern Kumamoto region, where twin quakes killed hundreds in 2016.
Minoru Kihara said at least 13 people died and several others were seriously injured, and that as of early Wednesday, more than 9,000 people had sought refuge in 506 shelters in 3 regions of Yushu Island. Some stunned locals said the quake was the biggest they had felt in their lifetimes, measuring at the top of Japan's 7-level Shindo scale of shakiness, at which it is impossible to remain standing. At least 2 of the dead were 2 women killed in a shopping mall in the town of Kashima, apparently gutted by a gas explosion around half an hour after the quake, which was followed by dozens of aftershocks. Footage from inside the mall showed rescue workers in orange overalls and white helmets picking their way through a mass of twisted steel, dangling cables, and chunks of ceiling. Initial reports said that as many as 20 to 30 people were trapped inside, but broadcaster NHK cited police early Wednesday as saying that the number was lower than that. Officials said 9 people were meanwhile unaccounted for in a Nippon Paper Industries factory in Yasuhiro, where part of a red and white smokestack smashed into the sprawling facility below. Across Kumamoto, 36,880 households and facilities still had no power on Wednesday morning. The powerful tremor struck at 4:27 p.m. on Tuesday and was measured at 6.8 by the U.S. Geological Survey at a depth of 10 kilometers. The tremor also knocked over a cargo train, flattened a traditional torii gateway, and cracked roads, making many impassable. High-speed Shinkansen trains remain suspended on Wednesday.
Argentina's ex-leader Cristina Kirchner said on Wednesday she was taking a corruption conviction before the UN Human Rights Committee, claiming her innocence and alleging a plot to remove her from politics. Kirchner, a dominant and polarizing figure in Argentine politics, succeeded her late husband Nestor Kirchner as president from 2007 to 2015. Excuse me. A court upheld her corruption conviction over public works contracts awarded in the southern Patagonia region during her term in office. She was handed a 6-year prison sentence, which she is serving under house arrest, as well as a lifetime ban on holding office. The committee, a body of 18 independent experts, monitors the implementation of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights by its state parties and conducts regular country reviews. It has no power to compel states to follow its rulings, but its decisions carry reputational weight. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said on Wednesday he would convene new talks on the Cyprus conflict involving rival leaders on the divided island and the 3 guarantor powers. Guterres announced this at a news conference after he held a trilateral meeting with the rival Cypriot leaders to weigh the prospect for new talks 9 years after the peace process collapsed.
Guterres said he has the consensus of both sides and the guarantors to move into a 5+1 meeting with adequate preparation. He did not give a date, but referring to talks involving the Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot leaders with representatives of Greece, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. The 3 nations were named in 1960 when the island became independent from Britain, given the role of guaranteeing the constitutional order at a time of tensions between Greeks and Turkish Cypriot communities. Guterres said the deadline for the meeting was not defined, but we are going to work together as fast as possible. The announcement came after he held trilateral talks with President Nikos Christodoulidis of the Republic of Cyprus and his counterpart from the self-declared Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The outgoing UN leader, whose term in office finishes at the year's end, held separate meetings with both leaders on Tuesday to weigh the prospect of fresh negotiations 9 years after the peace process collapsed. Decades of UN-backed talks have failed to reunify the divided island, with the last major round of peace talks in Switzerland collapsing in July 2017. Cyprus has been divided since 1974, when Ankara occupied this northern third in response to an Athens-engineered Greek Cypriot coup seeking union with Greece. Today it comprises the TRNC, which is only recognized by Ankara, and the internationally recognized Republic of Cyprus, an EU member that controls the island's majority Greek Cypriot South.
Hundreds of transgender Pakistanis and supporters protested against surging inflation in the southern city of Karachi on Wednesday as spiking prices amid the Middle East war disproportionately hit the vulnerable community. Though Pakistan's transgender community has received legal protection in recent years, many face social and family stigma, often leading to economic deprivation that forces some to earn an income from begging. The country, a key mediator between the United States and Iran, has seen soaring prices that threatened an already fragile economy during months of fighting and disruptions to global energy shipments. Demonstrators in Pakistan's largest city chanted and held up signs emblazoned with slogans such as high fuel prices, empty plates, and called for relief from spiking prices and help finding secure employment. Russia announced on Wednesday that it issued an international wanted notice for Telegram founder and CEO Pavel Durov over accusations of complicity in terrorism. Moscow said it frequently targets its political enemies on charges of supporting terrorism or extremism.
Russian-born Durov is serial tech founder who has lived outside Russia for years and holds French and UAE passports, has frequently clashed with the Russian authorities as Moscow has tightened its grip on the internet space. His Telegram messenger is one of the country's main communications platforms, and officials have repeatedly tried to block access or thwart its success in a bid to pressure Durov to hand over user data or push Russians to use an unencrypted state-backed alternative. Russian Security Services (FSB) said in a statement that an international wanted notice has been issued for the head of the Telegram administration, P. Durov. It alleged Telegram has been used as a recruitment platform for Ukrainian security services looking to coerce Russians to commit sabotage, and that Durov had not removed prohibited information. The 41-year-old Durov lives in France, where he has also faced legal issues over allegations over the spread of illegal content on Telegram.
Beijing accused the United States on Wednesday of seeking to suppress Chinese companies after Washington banned imports of humanoid and quadruped robots manufactured abroad. Most humanoid robots sold in the United States are imported, particularly from China, where local companies have raised their head in the booming sector.
Beijing's Foreign Ministry said it firmly opposed Tuesday's move by the U.S. Federal Communications Commission (FCC) to add advanced robotic devices to the list of banned items on the national security grounds. The ministry spokesperson Mao Ning told a news conference that China has always firmly opposed the U.S. overstretching the concept of national security to suppress Chinese companies. Mao said Beijing will take necessary measures to safeguard the rights and interests of Chinese companies, adding that protectionism cannot enhance U.S. competitiveness, but will only harm the interests of American companies and consumers. Robots of all shapes and sizes are ubiquitous in China, from hotels to shopping centers and factories. Certain types of drones, as well as Chinese companies Hawaii and China Telecom, were already on the FCC's list. It now also includes mobile robots, which mimic how humans and animals walk by standing on 2 or 4 legs. The FCC's decision was based on findings from a task force convened by the White House, which concluded that foreign-built robots could create a cybersecurity risk that threatens the security of critical infrastructure and the safety of security of U.S. residents. Most humanoid robots in the United States are used for industrial applications in confined spaces, such as automobile factories or storage warehouses.
A Chinese fugitive accused of smuggling about 12 tons of endangered pangolin scales from Nigeria to China has been repatriated to face prosecution after 7 years on the run. Force Public Relations Officer CSP Annie Iniedu says Interpol operatives arrested 42-year-old Kai Jinlian in Abuja before returning him to Shanghai under bilateral police cooperation arrangements. According to Iniedu, the Nigeria Police Force, through the Interpol National Central Bureau, Abuja, repatriated Jinlian to the People's Republic of China, where he is wanted for charges relating to the trafficking of endangered wildlife. He is wanted by the Anti-Smuggling Sub-Bureau of Wenzhou Customs in Zhejiang Province for allegedly smuggling approximately 12 tons of tree pangolin scales from Nigeria into China in 2 consignments between November 2018 and April 2019. 2 of his accomplices were convicted and sentenced to more than 14 years imprisonment by the Wenzhou Intermediate People's Court in December 2020. Jinlian fled China through Egypt on July 12, 2019. An arrest warrant was issued against him on March 24, 2020, followed by an Interpol red notice on May 10, 2020. Intelligence later established that he had relocated to Nigeria around 2023, moving between Delta and Plateau states, before Interpol NCB Abuja operatives arrested him in Abuja on July 18, 2026. He was repatriated to Shanghai on July 29 under bilateral police cooperation arrangements to face the pending charges. Inspector General of Police Olatunji Disu commended the professionalism and dedication of the Interpol NCB Abuja team and directed the Environmental Crimes and Works of Art team to intensify intelligence-led efforts against wildlife trafficking and other transnational organized crimes. The Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired, says the Nigerian Armed Forces will continue to honor the sacrifices of the nation's fallen heroes while ensuring the welfare of the families they left behind. The minister stated this at a program where the widows of fallen heroes alongside wives of 7 military personnel were equipped with vocational skills to help them support their families and build sustainable livelihoods following the loss of their loved ones. He reaffirmed the military's commitment to its constitutional responsibility of defending Nigeria's territorial integrity and safeguarding the lives and property of citizens.
This initiative underscores our resolve to complement the sacrifices made in defense of our nation with practical measures that promote self-resilience, enterprise, and sustainable livelihoods. The armed forces of Nigeria continue to discharge their constitutional responsibility with courage, professionalism, and unwavering dedication. Every day, our personnel confront complex security challenges in defense of Nigeria's sovereignty and the protection of the lives and property of our citizens. This program has been carefully designed to provide practical knowledge and entrepreneurial skills that participants can apply in establishing and growing sustainable enterprises. Beyond the training itself, it also provides an opportunity to interact with experts, exchange ideas, and explore availabilities.
Some of the beneficiaries thanked the Minister of Defense and the Nigerian military for their support and commitment to helping them rebuild their lives after the loss of their breadwinners. They said the intervention is timely and has given them renewed hope as well as the means to provide for their families.
someone to remember me, to bless me today. I'm very, very happy. I'm a tailor. I'm into sewing. I buy material for bed sheets. So I think I'll add the money into the business, and I know it will help me out for so many things. But with this support, honestly, we really appreciate where this support is coming from. The Almighty God will bless the giver.
Starter packs were presented to the participants to empower them with the skills and resources needed to build sustainable livelihoods and secure a better future for their families. The leadership of the Southern and Middle Belts have insisted that Nigeria's presidency must remain in the Southern region to strengthen national stability, unity, and constitutional restructuring ahead of 2027. The position was contained in a communique issued at the end of the forum's regular general meeting held in Abuja and attended by delegates of its 4 constituent organizations, including Afenifere Onezindigbo Worldwide, the Middle Belt Forum, and the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF.
On the 2027 general elections, the Assembly reiterates its other resolution that the position of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall remain in the Southern region in the next 4 years, consequent on the 2027 general elections in the interest of national political stability.
Beyond the zoning, the forum blamed the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for allowing other independent government-owned institutions and individuals to shape the commission's roles instead of upholding its independence to reduce growing erosion of internal democracy within political parties that threatened the nation's democratic future.
The onus of proof on election matters should be on INEC. Is that clear? Yes. Yes. That's our position. That is our position. The onus of proof on INEC matters, on the election matters, should be on INEC. But in terms of giving the electorate, we urge everybody to try and vote for a government that will guarantee this country the institution of a new constitution for this country. Because what we have today is not a constitution made by the people, for the people, by the people.
On constitutional reforms, the regional leaders renewed their long-standing demand for restructuring and declared that they would mobilize Nigerians to support only a presidential candidate committed to delivering a new constitution anchored on the principles of true federalism. The elder statesman argued that the current constitutional arrangement had failed to adequately address the country's political and governance challenges. That's the world news on Kakaaki, the African Voice, but don't go away. We have more reports for you on Kakaaki Business.
Kakaaki Business. Consumer borrowing in the United Kingdom increased slightly in June, driven largely by stronger credit card spending. Data from the Bank of England shows that consumer credit rose to £1.80 billion in June, surpassing market expectations and broadly in line with the 6-month average. Borrowing through credit cards increased to £0.9 billion from £0.6 billion in May, while borrowing through other forms of consumer credit, including personal loans and vehicle financing, declined to £0.9 billion. The annual growth rate of total consumer credit edged up to 9.1%, the strongest pace since July 2018. And Germany's import price continued to increase in June, although the pace of growth slowed from the previous month. Import price rose by 6.1% year-on-year, slightly above market expectations, but lower than May's 6.8% increase. Energy remained the biggest driver, with electricity, petroleum and crude oil recorded significant price increases, while intermediate and capital goods also became more expensive. However, consumer good prices continue to decline. Nigeria and Benin and Cameroon are deepening regional collaboration to improve border management and facilitate trade. The Nigeria Customs Service reaffirms its commitment to coordinate border management following a high-level benchmarking mission to the Bridge border post between Zimbabwe and South Africa. The initiative is aimed at promoting trade facilitation, improving border efficiency, and advancing regional economic integration. Custom Authority says lessons from the visit will support efforts to strengthen cross-border cooperation, enhance security, and simplify trade procedures among neighboring countries in line with regional integration objectives. Nigeria's net foreign liability position increased significantly in 2025 as foreign investment in the country's assets outpaced Nigeria investment abroad. This is according to the Central Bank of Nigeria International Investment Position Report, which says net foreign liability rose by $7.5 billion to $90.2 billion. The increase reflects stronger foreign portfolio and direct investment liability, despite growth in Nigeria external reserves and overseas investment by Nigerian residents. The report shows Nigeria ended the year with external assets valued at $125.6 billion and foreign liabilities of $215.8 billion. As Africa accelerates efforts to deepen regional economic integration, business leaders are calling on entrepreneurs to look beyond the pursuit of quick wealth and embrace long-term investment that can unlock the vast opportunities created by intra-African trade and drive sustainable economic growth across the continent. That was the central message from the Prime Minister of Kingdom of Lesotho, Right Honorable Samuel Ntokwane Atekena, at the Nigeria-Lesotho Business-to-Business Forum in Abuja. He urged African entrepreneurs to build businesses with lasting value, stressing that business, innovation, and strategic partnership remain critical to creating jobs, expanding industries, and transforming African economies.
That in our national development priorities, we recognize that investment follows confidence. For this reason, my government continues to prioritize investment climate reforms, institution strengthening, and measures that improve the ease of doing business. We are committed to creating a stable, transparent, and predictable environment in which investors and businesses can be anchored to thrive.
Big landscape, but the population is another opportunity rather than a disadvantage. About 2.5 billion people, but with fantastic opportunities. The focus is on breaking barriers to trade, inviting Africa to trade with itself and harness the full benefits of the AfCFTA agreement.
The organized private sector in Abuja says stronger business partnership among African countries will accelerate trade, attract investment, and reduce the continent's dependence on markets outside Africa. They noted that expanding intra-African commerce is key to industrialization, economic reliance, and shared prosperity under the African Continental Free Trade Area.
This explains in the first place the importance of Nigeria in continental Africa. While some people are chasing us away, some people are trying to befriend us. That's a very good sign on its own. Number two, I think the fear we are entertaining about what Nigerians have experienced in South Africa, I could not see the possibility of same happening in Lesotho. Why? Because you could see the proactivity of the head of government of that country.
This is an opportunity. When we come here at Nigeria, we know very well that Nigeria is one of the powerhouses of Africa in terms of economy, in terms of the population, and we know very well that the business in Nigeria and the business people here in Nigeria have advanced a lot as far as Africa is concerned. So we saw that as an opportunity for Lesotho to come here and establish the business relationship.
Stakeholders expressed optimism that sustained collaboration between African governments and the private sector would open new markets, strengthen regional value chain, and position African businesses to compete more effectively on the global stage, translating the after from policy into measurable economic growth and improved livelihood across the country. As Nigeria works to attract investment and improve the ease of doing business, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, in partnership with the Lagos State Consumer Protection Agency, is stepping up efforts to ensure businesses comply with consumer protection standards, addressing manufacturers, importers, distributors, retailers, service providers, and consumer groups in Lagos. The Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC stressed that consumer protection is not just a legal obligation but an economic imperative capable of supporting sustainable business growth and long-term investment. The Commission warned that businesses that violate the Fair Competition and Consumer Protection Act with sanctions, including administrative penalties and enforcement actions. Stakeholders described the collaboration between FCCPC and LASCOPA as significant steps towards strengthening regulatory coordination and promoting responsible business practices. They expressed optimism that sustained compliance will improve market transparency, enhance investors' confidence, and contribute to a more competitive, resilient, and consumer-focused Nigerian economy. Securing land rights, providing equal access to finance, and delivering inclusive training for women in agriculture have again taken center stage, but this time at the 9th Africa Agriculture Science Week and the 10th General Assembly of the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa in Abuja, where African women in agricultural research and development meets with researchers, policymakers, development partners, and private sector actors to review progress, share evidence that will shape Africa's agricultural transformation agenda.
Gender responsive and inclusion in agriculture means designing and implementing farming programs, policies and resource distribution that women, youth and vulnerable groups can have equal access, control and benefits. This gathering is a side plenary section to highlight critical gender gaps in Nigeria's agriculture policies and practices, drawing on evidence from the past. The session emphasizes the importance of gender-responsive policy frameworks in advancing women's empowerment and improving livelihoods in the agriculture sector.
When we are talking of inclusive agricultural policies, we are talking of smallholder empowerment or resource access, climate resilience interventions. And if we do it very well, it's supposed to support the national development.
If women must really benefit from the gains of agriculture, it has to be ownership. Particularly now that we're in the realm of sustainable agricultural practices, carbon credits, carbon sequestration. If women don't own land, they may not benefit from some of these schemes, which can increase income at the family level and also at their personal level.
The session also provides a strategic platform for fellows to present evidence from their projects, engage policymakers, and advocate for gender-responsive agriculture policies.
The analysis found that the National Rural Development Strategy 2 recognizes really that there are challenges. It recognizes an aging farming population, declining in youth participation, and women limited access to land and labor-saving technologies.
Our expectations, like presented from on our PIP, is to meet with stakeholders, which includes everybody, farmers, women, all agricultural stakeholders, to discuss this issue of gaps. How can we solve this issue? How can we bring in more women into issues of agriculture? How can we mend these gaps so that women will be included in this in agriculture, included in having access to resources?
The event is a sideline session for the Africa Agriculture Science Week and the FARA General Assembly, bringing together researchers, policymakers, development partners and private sector actors to review progress, share evidence and shape Africa's agriculture transformation agenda. Ngozi Onijab, AIT News, Abuja.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. You are on to Kakaaki, the African Voice, and of course that was Kakaaki Business, just closing up. But before we move on to the next segment, let's welcome Adora Sydney Jack, my acting partner for this morning's program. And it's the first time we're seeing this week, right?
Absolutely. Well, is it? No, we started off with. Oh yes, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Fantastic.
All right, the niceties are over. Let's get back to work, really. And we have some special reports we'd like you to take a look at, of course, to get a feel of what else is going on in the polity. And the first one we're looking at is the request for Nigerian media to take ownership of the 2027 general elections.
Indeed, well, they say the need for the Nigerian media to take full ownership of the electoral process and provide accurate, balanced, and factual reporting on government development programs as part of efforts to ensure free, fair, and credible 2027 general election has been emphasized, really. Now, of course, we know the former chairman of the Abuja Municipal Area Council and the FCT coordinator of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors, Abdullahi Candido, I forgot his name right, who made the call at a one-day media retreat in Gwagwalada and said the media plays a critical role in shaping public perception and influencing voters' decisions, stressing that, well, responsible journalism is essential to strengthening Nigeria's democratic process. Let's take a look.
Political activities gather momentum ahead of the election seasons. Political parties and various interest groups are intensifying efforts to win public support. One of the key strategies is engaging the media to effectively communicate their messages and shape public opinion. Former chairman of the Abuja Municipal Area Council and FCT coordinator of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors, Abdullahi Candido, said the media retreat is timely, given the need for accurate, balanced, and responsible reportage throughout the electoral process.
What we intend to achieve is to make sure that our people, particularly at the community levels, get proper sensitization. They are well informed of how, what is ahead of us or ahead of them as far as being voters is concerned.
Director of the Media Directorate of the FCT Renewed Hope Ambassadors, Mohammed Babangoshi, alongside other participants, described the retreat as an eye-opener, saying it has enhanced their understanding of the media's critical role in promoting credible, balanced, and responsible election reporting.
The 2027 general election is fast approaching, and we need a robust and vibrant media to sell out all the projects of Mr. President, especially here in FCT through the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
The chairman has declared his readiness to support every cause that has to do with Renew Hope.
We have learned that we also need to own the narrative. Whatever message we intend to drive out there for the people to actually take and understand, we need to own it.
The media retreat attracted participants from the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory, bringing together media professionals and stakeholders to strengthen their understanding of the role of the media in the electoral process. Has Akodi, AIT News, Abuja.
All right, as Akodi there talking about that meeting, that party that was held in Gwagwalada, talking about Nigerian journalists providing accurate, balanced, and factual reporting on government development programs as part of efforts to ensure free, fair, credible elections next year. Well, I listened to that report and listened to the two gentlemen there, Abdullahi Candido and of course Mohammed Babangoshi, talking about what they think the media should be doing. One thing I find very funny is that everybody knows what the media should be doing, but nobody, we don't get the kind of support that you would expect that people should give the media when push comes to shove.
Absolutely.
I have reported elections extensively, and I recall that quite a number of times journalists have lost their lives in the course of reporting elections, and of course in the course of doing so many other things. So, well, we thank him for the advice.
There seems to be more to meet the eye beyond the demand, right?
Yeah, of course. It's not just about reporting government activities and government development programs, but reporting also what's happening to the people, so that the government can also be aware of the gaps, the knowledge gaps that could, of course, have jumped into the data process.
Especially with the policies churning out day in, day out.
That's exactly what it is. Okay, so let's take another special report looking at the inauguration of the DICON Institute of Technology in Kaduna, which is part of Nigeria's efforts to strengthen defense industrial capacity through indigenous research, innovation, and manpower development. The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, says the Institute is expected to provide a skilled workforce needed to drive local defense production so as to reduce reliance on foreign technology. Let's take a look at that report.
Established by the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, the Institute will train engineers, technologists, and technicians in defense-related disciplines while serving as a center for research, innovation, and product development. Director General of DICON, Major General Babatunde Ayala, says sustainable defense industrialization depends on developing the indigenous manpower required to design, produce, and maintain military hardware locally. He added that the institute has received approval from the National Board for Technical Education and has been listed by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, enabling it to commence specialized academic programs linked directly to DICON's production facilities and industry partners.
As DG DICON, I pledge that this institute will be fully integrated into the corporation's drive to become the nucleus of Nigeria's defense industry.
Inaugurating the institute, Minister of State for Defense Bello Matawale described the project as a strategic investment in Nigeria's quest for defense self-reliance. He commended DICON's leadership for advancing reforms in the nation's military-industrial complex and reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to supporting the institute through policy, funding, and strategic partnerships.
This institute is a legacy project conceived with a vision of equipping our nation with the needed technical expertise required to design, develop, and sustain the platform and system that guarantee our national security.
Beyond training graduates, the DICON Institute of Technology is expected to drive indigenous research, innovation, and the production of local defense equipment. Authorities say the initiative will help reduce Nigeria's dependence on imported military hardware and foreign military expertise by developing a highly skilled workforce capable of designing, producing, and sustaining homegrown defense technologies while strengthening local content and enhancing national security. Abimaja Moses, EIT News, Kaduna.
To Get Fit in 60 Seconds with Dolly Phillips. Now everyone has 60 seconds in every day to spare. So if you're ready, let's go! Hey, who's about to work some more abs? I am. We're doing ab rotations today. We're going to twist to one side and twist to the other side. Are we ready? Let's go. Don't forget to pivot. On that foot, come on. That's it. Work those abs. Straight arms. Don't break those elbows. They need to be fully extended. Good. That's it. Very good. Good job. Now, at 30 seconds, we're going to make it a little bit harder. We're going to go from side to side. Ready? Let's go. Good. Very good. Stay low. Watch those abs. Come on. 20 seconds left. Very good. Keep going. Sucking those abs tight. Come on. We're working those abs. 6 packs complete before Christmas. You ready? 10 seconds. Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2. Time. Woo! That was awesome. Well done. Well done. I hope you had a great workout. Anyway, what I need you to do is to follow us on Instagram at Alpha Fitness Studios and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Alpha Fitness Studios, for free workout videos, free dance videos, sales and promos, and make sure you join us at the gym, Alpha Fitness Studios in Lekki Phase 1 next time you're in Lagos. So until the next time, bye-bye.
Hello, great people of Nigeria. Welcome to the Leadership Clinic. Today, I'll be speaking on leading without bitterness. In 1990, after spending 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela walked out of the Victor Verster prison a free man. The world watched as he took his first steps into freedom. Many expected him to seek revenge against those who had imprisoned him. After all, he had every reason to be angry. But Mandela made a different choice. Instead of leading with bitterness, he chose reconciliation. Instead of fueling division, he called for unity. He understood that if South Africa was going to move forward, someone had to break the cycle of resentment. Years later, Mandela reflected on the moment, saying that as he walked towards the prison gate, he knew that if he did not leave his bitterness behind, he would still be imprisoned. He will still become a prisoner. This is one of the greatest lessons in leadership. Every leader will eventually experience disappointment. Someone may betray you, betray your trust. Someone may treat you unfairly. Your efforts may go unrecognized. The temptation is to carry those wounds wherever you go. But bitterness has a way of imprisoning the person who holds onto it. It is therefore important for you to know that you cannot lead people effectively while carrying the weight of unresolved resentment. So how do you lead without bitterness? That is my question. First, refuse to let the past define your future. Learn from painful experiences, but don't allow them determine the person that you become. Second, you choose to forgive. Forgiveness does not excuse wrongdoing, but it frees your heart from the burden of anger and create room for healing. It is important that we know that great leaders that have made a difference in our world, they are leaders whose hearts are pure towards others. Third, you must stay focused on the bigger picture. Great leaders make decisions based on purpose, not on emotion. They ask, what will move us forward? Finally, invest your energy in building rather than blaming. Every moment you spend dwelling on the past, dwelling on yesterday, dwelling on what has happened before, it is a moment taken away from creating a better tomorrow. Remember this, holding on to bitterness may feel like strength, but real strength is found in the freedom to let it go. Over the years, I personally have understood this principle. That is a major principle that shaped my thinking and made me such a great person that I am today. Great people of Nigeria, we must remember, if a man does not have a purpose waking up, sleeping becomes interesting.
Chambers where laws are forged and a nation's destiny is decided.
This is your parliamentary program, Inside the Parliament on AIT.
Voices rise, opinions clash, debates ignite.
We cannot be apologetic in the discharge of our constitutional duties as lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to INEC.
From the Senate to the House of Representatives, this is where policies are tested, laws are crafted, and authority is held to account.
We spoke to some lawmakers on their opinions of the document presented by the President.
Every motion, every argument carries the hopes of millions.
We need more hospitals, more health clinics in communities so that they can effectively take care of the primary health need of our people.
The questions are tough. The exchanges are intense.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
And those who want the proviso are 55 in number. And so the proviso says.
But who truly stands for the people? Who is driving the change that defines our tomorrow?
Let us tell ourselves the truth. Why are we here talking about LGBT, GTBT, whatever?
Get the answers on Where Nigeria Decides on Inside the Parliament on AIT every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. In today's global economy, Information is everywhere, but insight is rare.
Because of the high rate of fuel, the cost of commodities, cost of everything in this country is high.
This is unacceptable because Nigerians cannot be made to suffer every time.
So, where do you turn for clarity? The right questions.
What is a need for Nigerians? Let's really break it down. Income strata-wise, revenue strata-wise for companies. What are some of the inhibitions that are not making trade work for all?
The real answers.
Stimulus package must take a different shape beyond what we have seen in sharing of rice, sharing of money.
Nancy brings it to you on Moneyline with Nancy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Moneyline with Nancy.
Clear, well-researched conversations focused on what truly impacts you.
Is it that we don't know the number of MSMEs we have in the country, or we don't know where they are?
I don't think we can identify 40-something million MSMEs as a people and as a country.
Nigeria has the policy framework in place to be a leader on this approach. You can make farmers bankable.
Moneyline with Nancy now airs 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Weekdays, live on AIT and online. If it matters to the economy, join us.
Since our directors were excited this morning, but I'm catching the energy from this side of the show. You're welcome to Newspaper Review, and definitely we're not going to be doing this alone. Chuks Akana is here, the Honorable Chuks himself. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Morning, Chuks. Chuks is the Executive Director of the Authority newspaper. He's joining us this morning, and of course, she's about
I hope she catches up on time.
Because of the segment.
Absolutely.
Well, let's take a look at what the papers are very quickly. We start with this Nigeria this morning. What does it lead with? Phantom Agency. Reps brand Adeyemi's letter of appointment fake. Head of service admits lapses, vows tighter procedures. IGP. Police need court order to compel DG's appearance. That's a top story on the front page of this Nigeria. But if you look at the bottom of the page, you see another headline there. Victims of Benue Kaduna killings deserve justice. Northern senators back Tinubu's army expansion, say 4 new army divisions, 20,000 troops be backed with equipment, logistics.
All right, let's go to Daily Asset. Daily Asset this morning has its lead reading, reps uncover multiple fake State House documents in PFIPC probe. Panel declares Adeniyi's appointment letter establishment act fake. A battered DG remains in police custody, and that's what you also see. DSS rescues 9 kidnapped victims, kills 3 gunmen in Kwara Forest, arraigns the 5 Ansar suspects over your school kidnap, and that's another lead story there.
Okay, let's go to the Al Jazeera Nigeria now. PFIPC scandal. Reps declare DG's appointment letter fake as police fail to produce Adeyemi before lawmakers. Page 9 of the paper is where you'll find the story.
And the GWG.NG goes straight for the PFIPC story saga as well. Head of service exposes fresh twist, and that's the lead story. Fans reactors, Idibe unveils need to offer to people's name, but that's another story. The bottom page story, fiscal vandalism. Atiku attacks Tinubu over 4.79 trillion naira unapproved borrowing breach.
Okay, let's move on now and take a look at the Daily Monitor. Fake agency. No due diligence done in PFIPC documents verification, says head of service. Admits the office could have exercised greater scrutiny before granting the approvals. Why we declined to produce Adeyemi before reps panel, IGP.
let's go to Nigerian News Direct. And still looking at the trend, and lead story is still being flagged. There is that of the PFIPC scandal. Head of Civil Service admits lack of due diligence, and that's on page 13 of the story.
The next paper we have is the Daily Global. Its lead story says police arrest Osun SSG, 5 others over alleged vote buying offenses. You'll find details of that in the inside pages of the paper.
And Standard Times goes still with Osun government police trade words over advice to Secretary to State Government, and that's the lead story of the Standard Times. We will find also the fake agency story. Head of Civil Service admits approving forged documents, and that's on page 2 of the Standard Times.
Okay, now let's go to the Leadership newspaper. Its top story says Osun government kicks as police detain SSG over alleged possession of voter register, 4.8 million naira. The writer says 5 others also held after raid on top government officials' residence. Page 4 of the paper is where you will find the details of that story. And at the top of the page, right hand side, just above the masthead, you'll find that headline there: PFIPC scandal, Adeyemi's appointment letter fake, head of service reps panel, and police failed to produce fake council DG, seek court warrant.
Now, Observer's Times looks at 2027. We will wrestle to the finish. Tinubu dares opposition, says INEC is neutral, defends governance record amidst 2027 challenges, and that's the riding story to the Observer's Times this morning.
Now let's go to the Authority newspaper. Its lead story here says Oriwe kidnap, FDR reigns and SARO commanders, 3 others arrested by DSS on fresh charges of terrorism murder. That's the top story there on the front page of that paper.
And then we would also be looking at the New National Star. Now, it's looking at state of the nation. Catholic bishops tax Tinubu on security, INEC's independence, advocate equal democratic space for all parties, lament economic hardship facing Nigerians, bemoan state of educational infrastructure, and that's on page 2 of the New National Star.
Okay, now let's move on to the Daily Sun. Catholic bishops open up on state of nation, and the writers to that story say one on insecurity, democracy, elections, say country bleeding, sliding into one party. And also on the front page of the Daily Sun, you'll see that headline there just below the masthead: 12.62 trillion naira debt, Tinubu has lost control of government, Atiku claims. That's the Daily Sun this morning for you.
And the Nigerian pilot looks at ACPN, raises alarm, says that is over worsening brain drain in health sector. ACPN raises alarm, says 10,000 pharmacists flee abroad in 5 years in search of better opportunities. Describes mass migration a serious threat to Nigeria's healthcare system, pharmaceutical industry, and that's on page 8 of the Nigerian pilot, amongst all the story. Bottom page, US to shut visa services in Abuja, 24 African cities from August 1st, and that's on page 5.
Now let's go to the Business NG. The top story there says illegal sachet alcohol sales persist despite NAFDAC crackdown. That story flows from the front page into the inside pages, specifically to page 2 of the paper. Also on the front page of the Business NG, you will see a number of headlines there, interesting ones there. Nigeria's debt deficit rises 47% to 13.51 trillion naira as oil revenue misses target.
And now we look at Business Diary. Equities market slump wipes 624 billion naira off pension fund assets, and that's what you see there as the lead story on the Business Diary front page.
The Whistler is where we're going next. 4 asset classes
control 93% of Nigeria's 31 trillion naira pension industry. The riders say market repricing hits equities, bonds as cash holdings jump 34%. Domestic equities lose 8.76%. Money market investments decline 2.89%.
All right, the Daily Independent is running with telcos call out states over crippling operations lag, dismiss telecom tariff hike over NCC cost study, and that's what you find. But bottom page also, agriculture grows 3.2%, defying security inflation woes, and that's another headline story as well. But the PFIPC chief, you will find just above the masthead on the far left. I think that brings us to a talking point this morning, a lot of it, which is focused on, because the PFIPC story. Maybe we'll start from there, Chooks. Let's get your weighting in here as well.
And
they're corresponding with comments.
Exactly.
Again.
Well, I'm the odd man out here. Welcome, Chizoba. Good to see you.
Great you can make it. Sorry, like you when your fans will tell you how they feel when they talk to you later. All right, let's go to the talking points. Chooks, let's start with the Phantom Agency, which is of course running as the lead on major of the papers. Reps brand Adeyemi's appointment letter fake. Head of service exposes new twist, and of course this Nigeria ran with that. How do you look at this?
Yes, we saw the head of service talking about the letter, the purported letter of appointment of Mr. Adeyemi. And then we also heard about how the police said they couldn't bring him because they didn't get a court order. But personally, I've tried to go through this saga. When I heard the man speak, it's not that it's not based on grammar, like Sheila Peters once said. He said grammar will be success. But when I heard the man speak, I just knew that this man couldn't have been appointed by anybody. I mean, that's the truth, because he didn't.
Based on his grammar?
Well, I say grammar will be success, but based on his grammar, I just knew that something fishy was somewhere, and it's good because the House of Reps has waded into this matter, and I'm sure gradually we'll come to the bottom of the root of this matter, because it's not just about that. There are several people, especially in Abuja. There are people who wine and dine with the mighty. They take photographs and they use that to scam a lot of people. It's not just about Adeyemi. I'm not saying that it's scam, but it's reality. Abuja, you see the big boys. They're in social circles, big boys. You see them take photographs with them, the higher mighty society, and they use that they drop names. And from there, unsuspecting members of the public fall prey to the antics. So it's a good thing that the reps are, investigating the matter. And I'm sure at the end of the day, we'll actually get to the root of this matter.
But I'm just, out of curiosity, the position of the head of service during the investigation, who says due process was not followed. Let me come in here with Chizoba. What does that say to you? I mean, if this is just one case in the many perhaps that came to light, but she's saying that she takes responsibility that due process was not followed.
More like administrative oversight, because she said the letters, she will not compare the letterhead with that of other letters they've been getting for the presidency, which actually cannot be excused, but we are human. But the question now is, will anybody be held responsible for that? Because it's causing the government serious embarrassment, and even Nigeria as a whole. But one will also ask, Chief said, we expect
to see
the end of the probe, but the reps or the NAS, as it were, has had series of probes that did not come to anything, as it were. Even the ones that concluded, like the Reservoir Power probe, we just keep making reference to it, we are not implementing it. We also know when
you talk about the Buhari's NDDC probe.
There are a lot
off your mic.
You know, nothing has come of it. So what is the expectation that this will be any different? Again, the background that the two principal accuser and the accused are not even likely to appear. One, the police has given this reason. Expectations are for Nigerians to try to build back that trust Nigerians should have on the government. These two people need to appear. Besides just appearing for the chief of staff, it gives him an opportunity to clear his name. We've seen in other clients where US particularly where we keep referencing, where senior government officials have been brought to the parliament to defend themselves. So expectations that he will come instead of speaking through spokespersons who even seem to be misrepresenting him as a threat, to come and tell his own side of the party, and that the principal accused will also have the opportunity to come and give clarity to some of these questions that are arising if possible. While if we keep saying the court process will not allow particularly the DG of the phantom agency as it appear, then probably the rep should not go ahead wasting taxpayers' money, because if they cannot speak, then there is no need for that. But there's also the side that everybody seems to be throwing this guy under the bus. That's the under the bus. But we must also know that if this was orchestrated to be a conduit pipe for siphoning money, you will only look for somebody who will be a good foreman, and he feels that and lacks power of because he's already been involved in some.
That's why I tried to jump in here. So the thing, what you said about the never-ending probe of parliamentary process. Someone said the committee's chairman is allegedly related by marriage to the individual accused of allegedly receiving the bribe, raising serious questions about the credibility and impartiality of the probe. So to many Nigerians, investigation appears to be an attempt to repair an already damaged reputation. Whether the perception is fair or not, public confidence has been shaken.
That's exactly what I said. Nigerians don't trust governments, successive governments, and particularly in this instance, don't believe whatever government. That's why they are quick to believe that yes, there's something fishy. But if we go ahead with this probe the way it's going, it will only enforce that distrust instead of.
Let me read to you what Moses Gang is sending out this morning to us on our YouTube channel. He says, the way and manner the Phantom Agency saga is being handled is meant to shield the culpability of some key collaborators on the matter. It's quite shameful. And I am Smooth. He's knocking you this morning, Chooks. He's saying, please, Chooks, what is wrong with you? How can you judge a serious case as this by someone's grammar? You should please stay home and allow people who care about this country discuss serious issues.
No, the grammar is involved in that. So if it's a DG of an agency, then it should be somebody who should have the minimum of a diversity.
I brought that comment out for a purpose. Yes. Because one, Chooks, you are entitled to your opinion. And secondly, the ability to express yourself is also very important. Absolutely. When you are holding public office. These are the things that
better qualified person who can fill such position.
These are the things
that an important agency,
presidential agency should be led by someone who is not only articulate but also has the intelligence to carry such offices. So anyway, let's move on to another issue now, because I don't want us to get bogged down with the comments from our YouTube channel. We'll get back to the YouTube channel in a moment. But Osun State is in the news, and police arrest Osun SSG, 5 others over alleged vote buying offenses. Daily Global Standard Times is where we have that story, Chooks.
Yes, I'll give the police the benefit of the doubt, because this is not the first off-cycle election involving an opposition party. Anambra State, that's my home state. I know the pressure that was mounted on security agencies and even the presidency that Anambra must be key APC state. But the president, I heard, stood his ground and said no, and let the people's will prevail. And all those people who bribe their way to get the ticket or not get the ticket, because my state is very notorious for people spending money, trying to outbuy positions. That's the truth. If you're a law enforcement officer in Anambra State, there's a matter, somebody spends 1 million. You say you think he has money, I has money too. No, it's a problem. I must be fair enough to admit that. So it's if actually I don't think it's possible for the Osun State SSG not to have those incriminating materials in his house, and the police go there and manufacture those and claim that he was hiding. They said he was hiding one. Somebody was hiding in his house, and then he also had electoral materials in his.
Possession of voter registers.
Yes.
4.8 million.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you want to talk about Osun, you say, okay, why did it happen around that state where the stakes were kind of higher, in my opinion, because Anambra State is seen to be the political head of the Southeast because of the nature of persons who have come that the state has produced. So it's a key state. So for it not to have happened and for somebody to have won, clean, landslide in the elections. So I don't think it will be fair to accuse the law enforcement agents of, manufacturing this just to, or give a dog a bad name. Exactly, because after all, they said that the clear conscience fears. Exactly. So there's no smoke, they say, without fire. So for that to have happened, and we also know that the governor is clearly fighting for his life, because first of all, the PDP, when he went around scouting and then finally betted in a court party. So those circumstances behind his emergence, and if you are porting to a relatively unknown party or a relatively smaller party on the eve of your elections, you know how difficult it is, because you have to start mobilizing from the grassroots up to from tough, or is it tough to bottom or bottom to tough, as our former president who...
So you don't think this is perhaps a ploy or is an email to hijack the state?
I gave you one example.
Because again,
I gave you one example.
The actually background to this situation,
and the violence
that happened before APC, the counter accusation, APC, Accord Party, the IG had visited Osun State, and even in the government,
he told the governor,
that the CP, the governor had petitioned against the CP for being partisan. But the CP alleged that the governor was housing some wanted criminal, and the governor went ahead to say even if his son was found involved in crime, he should be arrested. But even after the IG's visit, the violence had not stopped. The issue of AITW and MCA removal of leadership and all of that. So it's not something, this is not a one-off thing. The Accord Party leaders are still insisting that their people are not guilty. But like they said, you are innocent until found guilty. We expect that the law will take its course. But that's
in fairness.
Yes, if he takes his course, it means it's justice. But if not, he has not taken his course. Justice has to be done and still to be done. So we expect that and APC has continually accused the CP of not arresting. Accord has been accusing APC. The CP of not accusing APC members who are fomenting trouble. We also expect that now that they've taken Accord, that the investigation will also lead them, because nobody wants to go out to vote and then you run the risk of getting injured or getting involved. So expectation is that both sides, if there are people from them, they should be taken out of the equation so that the election people will freely come out and vote, because generally voter apathy is a big issue. And when it now comes with a target that probably your life is not, people will want to stay home. And at the end of the day, how does the will of the people prevail?
Yeah, but I'll very quickly, maybe I just a few minutes. It's like I was super secretary to a governor, Tungige. All Mingige was targeted by the presidency at the time, you understand? And we had a CP, we had several CPs in Anambra State. But from my experience, any governor who is not in control of a CP in his state, is to blame. And it happened, because most CPs, even when you have a brief from Abuja, as it were, most CPs tend to pander to the governor because he's on ground. So it's very, very difficult for a CP to operate in this, even without our federal policy system, to operate without the support of the governor. So any governor who has had a good relationship with the CP, no matter what the briefing is remember there was a time all police personnel were withdrawn from Indige when he was governor.
Yes, I remember.
But we had policemen who were mufti. People didn't know. So but the CP knew that they were very mufti. And even Abuja, when this IG was saying, he said, no, that these are plain clothes security men. But we knew that they were bearing arms, they were bearing AK-47. But officially, the security details were withdrawn from Abuja. But because he had an understanding with the CP, he still had, you understand? So it's very, very, it's a main excuse for you to come to be a governor of a state who's in control of so you have for the security vote. Then you keep blaming the CP that the CP stands to gain more from you as governor. I shouldn't come here to be teaching a governor what to do.
But somebody says there's an incident we can point to, please. Okay. When Wike was governor and Ndu as CP, you know how he was with them. So it doesn't follow that you
Wike triumphed.
Yes, but it depends on where the instruction is coming from, because that's brings the conversation about state police, federal police. Ultimately, the CP was saying that gave Ndige plain clothes uniform, a plain clothes policeman could be queried or stands to answer, except is the headquarters, the first headquarters sanctioned it. But if the first headquarters does not, he does not have a right to deploy policemen where he was supposed to.
Before he says this, he said what is playing out in Osun is what they're going to do in 2027. Don't forget that the president has promised to fight till the finish, and he should be taken responsibly or seriously. And another person says that what is playing out is the same template that was used in Edo elections. And another person says that, finally I'll say this, he says, well, that's on Adeyemi, but Chuks, you're saying that what you're saying about Anambra State may not apply because Soludo has declared support for the presidency, and so he would have.
Who has the governor for should declare support for the president? That means not.
Let's also not forget that since I think November last year, Osun, that's my home state, by the way. Osun has witnessed quite a lot of political violence.
But don't also forget, Osun State historically has had that problem.
Oh yes, but it shouldn't persist.
And everybody is blaming the APC as trying to take over. Yes, you can take over. It should be through the ballot. So without the violence, it should be through the ballot.
All right, let's move on and look at another issue now. Orire kidnap, FG arraigns and SAR commanders arrested by DSS. The authority newspaper has that. Chizawa, I'm starting with you. I didn't look at you.
No, I'm sorry. It's a good one. We've always praised the security agencies, especially the DSS, with what they are doing. And you know that in recent times there have been cases of conviction. And this, I think this is the one of protesting, the appealing.
Yes, this five.
They were given life sentence, and DSS insisting that they should be a death sentence because, yes, based on what the law says. So expectation is that the law will take its course, and like I keep saying, if there is crime, there is no sanction or equivalent sanction, the likelihood that people will still take to crime. And that's why a lot of people are against the issue of the idea of the radicalization and reintegration, because it actually serves as a booster for people to take to crime. Because if you can commit crime and you know that it's just like the days of plea bargain, there were a lot of people kicking against it because you could steal as much as you wanted, and then you use a little of it to plea bargain and you're home and dry.
Very quickly, the two Ansari commanders were arrested captured by not captured actually, and it was a very surgical, very neat operation because not a single bullet was fired. So today nobody knows how the DSS were able to capture these two commanders. So I think the thing took.
Suddenly intelligences are.
Yes, and so I think the thing shook the Ansari sect to its bones. So what happened was, at the time, because of they were in court, so their members were trying to agitating to get them released. They knew they couldn't storm the DSS headquarters. So what did they do? They now went to Oyo State. And interestingly, the DSS had written intelligence report that there's likelihood that they could attack schools in Oyo State. But the state government, for one reason or the other, did not take it. So they went and picked these people. And if you recall, they killed one teacher on the day they attacked, then beheaded the other one. So when they beheaded the other one, they were trying to put pressure on the federal government. So what did DSS do? DSS bought time and was able to start their conversation, get their family members, and also brought them.
Quite an intel on the DSS activities. I might as well say you up there.
And then brought their family members. Okay, if you tackle us, we'll double you. So they also used their own family members as a bargaining chip.
I see.
So why they were doing, okay, you want to kill, okay, go ahead and kill. And that was why they stopped killing those the kidnapped victims. So because of that, then suddenly when the two Ansari commanders who initially had said that they didn't want to plead guilty or not guilty, because they were hoping that their boys.
Sorry to bust into.
I know that's with all the information I know.
Let's get to the last lead this morning for now. Illegal sachet alcohol sales persist despite NAFDAC crackdown. Chizoba, please.
You know that there are particular work environments, I would say, where you find movie parts and all of that. And I know that they had objected to the ban. But some people have said the quality in the bottle is the same with the one in the sachet. But it's availability because it's cheaper. And some people get addicted if that's the argument. But I think it takes more than that. The orientation, whether it's in bottle, whether it's in sachet, if it harms you, you should avoid it.
Chizoba, we have had the Director General of NAFDAC in the studio. Professor Beye told us that the problem was that school children, underage people, were able to hide these sachets in their bags. And the consumption level of underage people is not so high.
My son went to a boarding house. I've taken him back to school and I've seen bottles, not sachets, when they side their bags, secondary school, while they were in secondary school, removed from bottles. What I say is that
but it's easier.
It's easier, fine, but if you have, I understand what you're saying, but if we bring up our children in such a way that they have to avoid it, whether it's in sachet or in bottle, they will avoid it, because it's a habit, it's a trend that they've imbibed. You like smoking, whether it's in a pack or a stick, you're smoking. So I think for all, we should do more to change their mindset towards whether it's in a sachet or it's in a bottle, please. That's my take on it. Alcohol is bad, whether in a bottle or in a sachet.
But like I said,
a final word.
Like I said, I heard the woman and it makes sense. Because you see, you're talking about boarding students. Now, most students are day students. So these sachets are very slim. So it's easier to take these things to school undetected. Bottles, there's, when
or drink on your way to school.
And sip it, but I think NAFDAC is doing a very good job, and I will support NAFDAC to continue with the ban, because most drivers, before they take off on their trips, they buy 2-3.
Should be truck drivers.
I agree with that, but they should do the orientation, because if you take off the sachet, if they're already addicted, they will go for bottle, and the bottles come in different sizes. They have some as small as this. So for me, yes, if you must drive, don't drink. Whether it's in sachet or whether it's in bottle. If you're underage, don't drink.
But we do not have Budweisers yet in our.
Yes, Budweisers.
I think the bottom line in all of this is the need, because I keep talking about enforcement.
Yeah.
About enforcement. and enforcement is what is key. All security agencies need to help NAFDAC here. Because
they don't have
consumption of children,
they don't have manpower.
The facility to
they don't have the manpower to NAFDAC doesn't have that manpower to police. The motor parks
are very dangerous places.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have to go now.
That's all.
Chizoba Ogeche, Deputy Editor of the Blueprint newspaper, and Chuks Akuna, Executive Director of the Authority newspaper. Chuks, the man people love to hate.
And he's giving us quite an intel.
Oh yeah, but you're doing a great job. Thank you very much for coming on the program this morning. All right, that's it for the newspaper review. We hate to leave it, but we've run out of time. We'll catch you on the other side of this break, and we'll begin our first conversation. Stay with us.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live. The issues as they break. The multitude, the political figure, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting
the scheming.
This is not a period we should keep our go.
Every part of this country is important.
The intrigues.
There can be no one person that is bigger than the party.
Deft moves and the momentous declaration.
We didn't get any protection.
I'm not particularly against anybody.
We track and capture them all.
I don't believe in authorizing politics.
Follow in-depth analysis and no-holds-barred interviews.
Armed forces of the country is well capable. They need the political will.
Are they just waking up from sleep? Is there complacency?
Feel the pulse of happenings in the political arena on AIT Democracy Today. Widely acclaimed authority on politics. Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Hallowed chambers where laws are forged and a nation's destiny is decided.
This is your parliamentary program, Inside the Parliament on AIT.
Voices rise, opinions clash, debates ignite.
We cannot be apologetic in the discharge of our constitutional duties as lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to Ireland.
From the Senate to the House of Representatives, this is where policies are tested, laws are crafted, and authority is held to account.
We spoke to some lawmakers on their opinions of the document presented by the President.
Every motion, every argument carries the hopes of millions.
We need more hospitals, more health clinics in communities so that they can effectively take care of the primary health need of our people.
The questions are tough. The exchanges are intense.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
And those who want the proviso are 55 in number. And so the proviso says.
But who truly stands for the people? Who is driving the change that defines our tomorrow?
Let us tell ourselves the truth. Why are we here talking about LGBT, GTBT, whatever?
Get the answers on where Nigeria decides on Inside the Parliament on AIT every Tuesday.
Thank you for staying with us, and we told you we were coming to our first talking point this morning and definitely looking at the Gulf War and fuel prices. Indeed, we started with telling you that, of course, the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, of course, have called to the government to direct immediate resumption of full commercial production at the nation's government-owned refineries to prevent, like they say, petroleum products markets being built around a single dominant supplier. We do have Dr. Billy Harry, who is also the president, and here with us in the studio. Good morning. It's great to have you.
Good morning,
as always.
Good morning.
Okay, Dr. Harry, thank you very much for joining us. And let's start from the situation in the Gulf. It doesn't look like either Iran nor the U.S. Are sure whether they want peace or they want to continue to bombard each other. But the Strait of Hormuz remains a critical issue in this matter, and it's affecting the entire world. How long do you think the global economy can cope with this ding-dong affair between the U.S. and Iran?
Well, difficult to say. When the earlier discussions about stopping the hostilities and opening the straits for business, my personal view and interpretation was, let's wait and see. Yeah, because we have leaders who, in my opinion, may be doing things that are impulsive and determined, to demonstrate superiority. So when we have that kind of situation, it's difficult to predict what will happen on the next corner. You can see a few days ago now, major strikes have continued back into Iran, and threats of this disrupting infrastructure, there. So it's affecting the world, and I think it's time for the world to also think out of the Strait of Hormuz. We should have to find something else. God gave us that strait. I'm sure that it wasn't simply meant to transport crude oil and other energy-related matters. So there should be some alternative. I think that's what the whole world needs to pursue. And for us in Nigeria, it's a pointer that we need to work very hard to set up our own internal mechanics, ensure that we have security, we have crude oil. So we should take our business more seriously, internalize what we want to do, and ensure that we have what it takes to maintain our 200 million plus people in Nigeria.
Okay, so talking about alternatives and probably thinking out of the box, I know that a previous 5% fall in the price of crude based on optimism of a likely ceasefire was followed by a price of increase at almost the same margin. Now, following those reports on renewed hostilities, we do see that was unavoidable. But prices are said to be lower than expected. Now, is it as a result of just this scenario, or is it set to be a scenario where the result of increased competition amongst, marketers have also induced this?
You are referring this strictly to Nigeria?
Absolutely.
All right. Retail outlet owners will play a very critical role in the distribution channel. We are the last mile, very critical last mile that, that's most Nigerians will know NNPC only through petrol stations, petrol retail outlets. So we are very careful to pursue our business in a manner that will continue to give Nigeria, courage, Nigerians encouragement too. Our products, which we have already bought, will always have the tendency to adjust to what new possible prices will be. Not by speculation, because don't forget that our margins are very low, extremely low. Because I don't see a business where an investor puts in about 1,000 naira and all he's expecting is 7 naira or 9 naira per out on 1,000. So if you put 1 million naira, you're looking at just, an increment of 7 naira per 1,000 naira. So it's not as profitable as it is glizzy.
Okay.
So because the glizziness of some of our retail outlets, I think also pass information that, but it's a marketing strategy also to make sure that our pumps are working well and the stations are clean and attractive. Pricing at all times will respond to just what the market determines at the time. How much are we buying and how much are we going to sell? We try to keep within the ambit of what the price margins that are allowed by our PIA, directs. So we are doing a private business, but we are also careful to make sure and cautious that Nigerians they make the benefit, getting products at an affordable price. So we take the hit. Most times our members balance the cost of purchase, we call it plus and minus. And we take some hits and then allow, because we must at all times make sure we have our capital intact. But once the capital is, frittered away, then there will be no opportunity to replace, refined products, and that is where you start to see dry stations, long queues coming up and all that. So we are also doing a very patriotic service.
No, Dr. Jidisari, when you look at the way the downstream sector has responded to the crisis ongoing on the international oil market, I'd like to know what you think is a quick way out for Nigeria to be able to, because you talked about taking care of 200 million people. Yes. By the responsibility on government to take care of over 200 million people. And we do know that petrol is the lifeblood of the Nigerian economy. So what's the short way out here? Because once the price of petrol goes up, it affects even the water that you drink.
Of course it does. And the poor news is that both the media and Nigerians expect the retail outlets to just adjust, automatically in ways that, we've explained this several times, that it's not possible to do just those automatic adjustments, Now, in our opinion, NPRC and all the economic, spin doctors of our system should actually sit down and look at how our production, can be increased, in real terms, not in just, just imaginations, or to just talk about it in papers. The size of crude oil we have and the size of gas we have, there should be a determined effort to make sure that production is increased, and setting up refinery in Nigeria should be made very attractive. There should be different kinds of incentives, tax holidays, easy access to crude oil, so Nigeria can, have maybe not as big as Dangote, but maybe other, refineries that will be doing like 150,000 barrels, 100,000 barrels, which will certainly utilize the domestic crude. And we don't need to depend on OPEC or to, box ourselves into OPEC regulations, for that. That would be strictly for domestic consumption. And I think that's the right way to go. So if, for instance, we aim to start producing, say, about 5 million barrels, a day, it's not a tall order. It's a matter of working out what the host communities should do, then the host communities to buy into the campaign and the project. Let everybody in Nigeria know that this is important for all of us. So our assets will be protected. There will not be vandalization, there will not be different kinds of disruptions that will be there. And those will certainly be the basis on which we can effectively take care of Nigeria's energy need. Because as it is today, you said it rightly, petrol is the lifeblood of the growth of our economy. And that's why in petrol we take that assignment very seriously. We try to make sure that our stations are wet. We source for products from every possible ways. We patronize Dangote, and Dangote is very dependable sourcing. The only thing we keep saying is work with stakeholders in a way that gives the Nigerians the opportunity to be able to enjoy their natural, the God's gift. Okay? So that the way to look after this is increase refining capacity in Nigeria, increase the crude oil availability, ensure that refineries, certain refineries are sensitized, and encourage, investors to come in this area.
Okay, so you just took the next conversation out of my mouth, because you talked about, opening the space. You mentioned the Dangote refinery, because I know that is one thing that your association has called to the federal government to direct immediate resumption of full commercial production at the government-owned refineries.
Yes.
But also to avoid, the space being built around the single dominant supplier. Now, is this feasible in the short term, your call to the government to review that, and how is that going to work in the next few weeks?
For us, it's a very disappointing, very disappointing action by the NNPC, by any means that is being described. That we have 4 refineries in this country that are within the age bracket of some refineries I know in the Caribbean and other climes that are functioning well. And we have 4 refineries that have been paying salaries, paying all kinds of allowances and all that for staff, and we cannot get that refinery to work. I recall what the campaign that Petron made to ensure that Nigerians are encouraged, and the NNPC is encouraged to make sure that at least the Port Harcourt refinery and oil refineries are working. And we are just here, just only talking about Chinese investors, and even that we are not seeing a daily progress. So this is why we have called the NNPC. They should not disgrace what the government's intentions are. The president is doing a good job, and what he's doing should be complemented by those who are saddled with responsibilities to ensure that we have answers. Because the president cannot go and make the refineries he doesn't have the key to go and start it. He has people that he has appointed to do that. So they should, we already have the infrastructure on ground. This will be different from somebody who is carrying maybe a refinery that is in a country that he wants to come to Nigeria to invest based on the investment climate and encouragement that's been given by the government of Nigeria. It's a different kettle of fish. You got to dismantle that refinery or start to craft the refinery from ground zero and then bring it down to a location that's appointed in Nigeria to do. But we already have 4 refineries. So we still call on the NNPC to up their game and save Nigerians and really take their job seriously.
But Dr. Dilizari, when we talk about the refineries, I find it a bit difficult to understand what has gone on over the last 3 decades or more, that these refineries have had millions, even billions of dollars pumped into them for turnaround maintenance. And indeed, I think it was 2 years ago, 2023, in late 2023, or was it late 2024, we were told that the Port Harcourt refinery was already working, and it was applauded, a media tour was organized, and NNPC told Nigerians that that refinery was up and running. And that brings us to the issue of the opacity in the oil industry. How do Nigerians get to know exactly what is going on? Because people keep talking about the examples of Aramco and the Brazilian Petrobras. People keep pointing to those examples that these are also government owned, and they are some of the best run companies in the world. So what is wrong with the Nigerian oil industry that we cannot run refineries?
I think we need to devise a very effective recruitment mechanism in giving assignments to anybody, whether a woman or man, that is going to be saddled with responsibility to run NNPC. NNPC belongs to all of us. You are an owner of NNPC. I am also owner, every one of us, because it belongs to the government. It's our sovereign property. the fact that most of the decisions that are made are opaque is very disappointing, even to me, because when we started visiting the refineries, and actually we are going on with our technical team, because Petron is made up of different calibers of people, and most of our membership and our leadership are people who've been in service, who know the industry, and who understand the industry. So when we went on our tour to meet with the management of all of the refineries, and especially Port Harcourt and Warri, we were very convinced that both our own internal analysis and the information that was given to us. So, in my opinion, we need to, for any reason that those refineries are not okay, we should do, somebody should be accountable. Anybody who was there, if it's passed, should be not just a simple probe. We had the last GMD has, agreed to some of the charges and all of that, but it should be held accountable. The money that's spent and is being filtered away belongs to Nigerians, and we do not think that we should continue to do that. Good thing, the moment our president came, he changed the method. So now NNPC can't even just be spending money the way they used to spend prior to the arrival of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's why we applaud the president. We give him quite a lot of credit, because most of the policies he has, churned out are futuristic and will be standard process for how Nigeria should be able to come out of the doldrum. So, I think somebody should be called to account, whether past or present. If they are alive, they should be held accountable for what Nigeria's monies did not, deliver after the promise. So if the media went and then they did all of that, was this a show? We should ask those questions. And I think interrogating those questions, because the NNPC situation, in my opinion, is very irritating, very annoying, and it seems like it just makes us look like we're fools.
Okay, Kayode Akani says here, why is it impossible to mandate all the oil-producing states to start modular refineries? Goes on to say Dangote is just using us to make money because all the big wigs in Nigeria shareholders in his company. But the question of modular refineries come up here. I mean, is it even possible? We're already talking about managing four that is, centered. How do we look at that?
Well, in my opinion, modular refineries are good, but you know that most of the modular refineries are not able to produce prime motor spirit, which is the critical product that is firing our economy, because the lady on the side of the road buys I passed my neighbor Jereza, and she's grinding her rice, her beans, and then doing different things, and thereby contributing daily to how we eat and how we get our energy also to be able to do the different things we do. To be honest to you, Dangote has done Nigeria a great service, because if for any reason Dangote did not establish that refinery, we will not be where we are. The only conditions that worry us is that we do not want the experience of our cement and our flours and all of those to repeat itself. We just want Dangote to be refiner that is doing a good job, and then we should be able to have other stakeholders to be able to carry on all the business of distribution, marketing, and then we, the retail outlet owners, do our business. Now, if we do that, and there is a consistent process of how we'll be able to make that, 650,000 barrels of crude oil refined per day is sufficient to stabilize our energy need. But if we did not even know whether that size of production will be made, it's a challenge. So anybody that is pointing to them as taking us for a ride, maybe may not be saying all of the truths in the way that I perceive it. Because if we did not have Dangote refinery here, we would not be talking about the availability of petroleum product, which is very key. Because remember, when we are dependent on another single source We used to have issues of, there's weather vagary, there is storm, and actually, some stories that when you go back to think some months or years back, you ask yourself, whether we didn't go to school or something, or maybe we don't even know what is happening. And then somebody will bring refined product and come and mix it with different methanol and poison the whole of the Nigerian energy system. So we think that the idea of leaving our energy source from in one hand is not a good thing at all. So we still will call on NNPC. Personally, I'm not very happy with NNPC because my life is there, and I'm not getting young. I should be able to see an NNPC that is very progressive, very determined. Because if you look at the assets of NNPC is the biggest company in Africa. Our assets are over $350 billion. So how can we have a humongous investment infrastructure like that, and then we are talking about if just only 2 refineries are working and we can produce even 50,000 barrels per day just to augment what Dangote is doing. We will not be talking about the challenges that we are facing. So I think NNPC should wake up and do what they have to do.
All right, Dr. Billy Julius Harry, we have to go now. Thank you very much for
Thank you so much
coming to talk to us this morning. Dr. Billy Julius Harry, the National President of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association, Petron, has joined us this morning to talk about the fuel prices, of course, the way they have been affected by the ongoing war in the Gulf.
And he's also said no to monopoly.
No to monopoly, sure.
Open up the space.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
We'll take a break. When we come back, it will be Kakaaki Social O'Clock. Stay with us.
Discuss. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you have trusted on Raybar Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as political platform debuts on your screen, bringing deeper analysis, sharper debates, and the voices shaping our nation's future right into your screens. From policy and politics breakdowns to real-time discussions with key stakeholders, this is more than a program. It is where opinions are tested, truths are uncovered, and the people's voice is heard. Join seasoned hosts and expert guests as they tackle the issues that define our democracy. No filters, no distractions, just real talk. Political platform now on AIT, 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday. Stay informed, stay engaged, be part of the conversation.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live. The issues as they break. The multitude, the political figure, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy, and our governments seem to be incapable of protecting
the scheming.
This is not a period we should keep our go. Every part of this country is equal.
The intrigues.
There can be no one person that is bigger than the party.
Deft moves and the momentous declaration.
We didn't get any protection. I'm not particularly against anybody.
We track and capture them all.
I don't believe in godfatherism in politics.
Follow in-depth analysis and no-holds-barred interviews.
Armed forces of the country is well capable. They need the political will.
Are they just waking up from sleep? Is there complacency?
Feel the pulse of happenings in the political arena on AIT Democracy Today. Widely acclaimed authority on politics. Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. hallowed chambers where laws are forged and a nation's destiny is decided.
This is your parliamentary program, Inside the Parliament on AIT.
Voices rise, opinions clash, debates ignite.
We cannot be apologetic in the discharge of our constitutional duties as lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to INEC.
From the Senate to the House of Representatives, this is where policies are tested, laws are crafted, and authority is held to account.
We spoke to some lawmakers on their opinions of the document presented by the president.
Every motion, every argument carries the hopes of millions.
We need more hospitals, more health clinics in communities so that they can effectively take care of the primary health need of our people.
The questions are tough. The exchanges are intense.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
And those who want the proviso are 55 in number. And so the proviso says.
But who truly stands for the people? Who is driving the change that defines our tomorrow?
Let us tell ourselves the truth. Why are we here talking about LGBT, GTBT, whatever?
Get the answers on Where Nigeria Decides on Inside the Parliament on AIT every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m.
Hello everyone, good morning to you. This is Kakaaki Social. I am Onoshorena Obozege. Welcome to Thursday. Somehow it feels like Friday, I'm not sure why. But quickly, let's see what's going on the space of social media. We start again this morning from the presidency, where the president, Bola Tinubu, is saying again that his administration inherited both the assets and liabilities of the Muhammadu Buhari government, insisting that the quality of life in Nigeria right now is gradually improving under his leadership. This is still from the meeting he had with the leadership of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria on Tuesday. Tinubu also remarked that hunger existed in Nigeria long before he was even born, adding that he could not be held responsible for the country's population growth over the decades.
The alarm for bankruptcy, the dark tunnel of uncertainty that we entered into when I came in has changed. The spirit of the people and the economic tunnel that we've been passing through is now clearer. The economy is recovered and safe from bankruptcy. Yes, I always say, because of my background, the profession and the belief that I inherit the asset and liability of my predecessor, I so did. And I have been running with it. But this government has stabilized and there's prosperity on the horizon. The quality of life is improving. Yes, before I was born, there was hunger in this country. And I have no control of the population development of Nigeria, trajectory.
All right, let's see how you're reacting to this. We start from Aspire Sunday, who says, does this government hear our cry at all? Buhari government was better than this man government. So at least Buhari didn't remove subsidy. The issue is this, whatever he says, that's what the international community will believe. Suffering is too much, adding the crying emoji. This user says, even if the fundamentals are appearing positive on paper, it's still nothing to brag or celebrate until
finally starts to reflect on the lives of the majority of the citizens. Two more thoughts to this one. The New Pay Lens says improvement isn't measured by speeches, in my opinion. It's measured by what people feel in their pocket until food, transport, rent, and the cost of living become genuinely affordable for the average Nigerian. Many will struggle to agree that the quality of life has improved. And final thought to this one will be from Abraham, who says, this job no be by force. If the kitchen is too hot, the right thing to do is leave the kitchen for people that can withstand the heat. Hunger has actually increased since you came to power. Living has become unbearable for the average Nigerian. The reforms have no positive impact on the poor masses. Rather, the number of the poor keeps growing by the day. All right, away from that, Senator Adams Oshomole has criticized the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi. Now, this is over works and what he is describing as the government's focus on approving new road project while existing federal highways remain in very poor condition. Speaking on the floor of the Senate, Oshomole said roads linking Benin to Delta State and Benin to Okene have deteriorated significantly and should be prioritized for rehabilitation before embarking on new projects. The former Edo State governor argued that while the Federal Executive Council recently approved the construction of about 20 new roads, attention should first be given to fixing critical highways already serving millions of Nigerians.
Federal Minister of Works need to be guided, because whereas we have all these old roads that are in bad shape, he proposing the construction of new roads when existing roads are not there. Because 3 weeks ago, I understand 20 new roads were approved. Yet, sir, between Edo and Delta, there is manifest bias by the Minister of Works. You cannot go to Warri and you are here, Senator Dafinoni. You can't go to Warri for Benin. You can't go to Asaba for Benin. You can't go to Auchi for Benin. You can't go from Auchi to Okene for Benin. What have we done wrong?
A question right there. Let's see if we have some answers to that. This user, Organigwe, says, expecting David Umahi to grant press statement, inviting Oshomole for a debate and to convince Nigerians that Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road as a legacy project remains the best thing Tinubu has done. If he doesn't do that, let his supporters weep for his shame of show against Obi. You remember the debate that he's initiating between himself and Obi. Igalo says, I traveled today from Benin to Warri, spent 4 hours on the road for a normal 1 hour 15-minute trip before. Failed spot in Mosugan and Saple after the bridge. Vehicles taken one way because contractor refused to do their jobs at night when traffic is less. For Human, he says he finally had to say it. I love the vision of approving 20 new roads to be built across forest and desert, but not when existing major roads are begging for attention. And final reaction to this one, Ade Hafiz says, seriously, the Minister of Work needs to be seriously guided. Till today, I am still asking why he withdrew the contractor from Jeba Mokwa Road while the project is almost done. Same thing with Bida Lambata Sileja Road. Diko Junction has been crying as well. Those are your thoughts right there. Well, from there, we go to a heartbreaking video and story. This one is coming from Kaduna State and is drawing national attention after a toddler was seen desperately trying to wake their mother, who was among those killed in a deadly attack in Naridon village. Now, the attack occurred on July 27 in Kajuru local government area, where gunmen stormed the predominantly farming community, killing at least 30 people, including women and children. Homes were set ablaze, forcing many residents to flee. Now, this distressing footage, which has since gone viral on the space of social media, shows the child tugging at the lifeless body of the mother, unaware of the tragedy. I mean, this child is not aware that he is now motherless. The video has become a painful symbol of human cost of the violence that continues to affect communities in southern Kaduna. Let's just have some seconds of this and we'll see how you react into it. Such a sight. Benga Michael says, which kind of wickedness is this? And you hear that the same set of callous and wicked animal in human flesh has been pardoned by the government and tagged repentant bandit or terrorist. Whoever that is behind this senseless killing of innocent people in this country will not go unpunished. OTL is crying and heartbroken. It says, this is absolutely heartbreaking. Seeing a helpless child trying to wake his mother after such a horrific attack brings tears to my eyes. How many more innocent lives must be lost? Our people deserve safety, justice, and peace. May God comfort the victims and their families. Amen. Just Bola says the killers of this woman will probably get pardoned and given a job. Meanwhile, the killers of IB, that's the just student as well, will most definitely go to jail. I'm not asking that they be pardoned. I'm asking that these terrorists get the same judgment or worse. Why is the selective justice? Mohammed will have the final say here. It says, this is heartbreaking. No innocent person, especially a child, should ever have to experience such a tragedy. My thoughts and prayers are with all the victims and their families. May justice prevail and may lasting peace return to every affected community. Amen and amen. I mean, this studio suddenly got colder with the sight of that video again. Well, away from that, the Lagos State government has intervened in the case of a 28-year-old widow, Tosin Omolola, who alleged that her late husband's family threatened, assaulted, and attempted to force her and her 2 children out of their home in Ikorodu just 8 days after her husband's death. The Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency says it contacted the widow after the case went viral on social media and began working with the police. Authorities have confirmed that the alleged perpetrator, identified as the woman's father-in-law, has been arrested and is in police custody while investigations continue. Now, this case again has gained public attention after activist Harrison Gwamnishu shared videos showing the father-in-law locking the gates to the family house and allegedly preventing the widow from accessing parts of the property. The widow also claimed that she was ordered to move all her belongings into a single room in the building just 8 days after her husband's death, while other family members occupied the rest of the house. Providing an update, Harrison Gwamnishu said the widow and her 2 sons have now regained full access to the house, that the in-laws have now vacated the property while the father-in-law remains in police custody.
You have to leave the house too. Don't tell me that you want to forgive anybody.
I didn't even see her. She has been to be seen. I was saying that, please, I'm protecting my mother-in-law.
The brother-in-law and the wife.
The wife is not even here. Right from time, she did not accept.
What about the husband?
He's not here.
So they are out of the house now.
Yes.
So you go and let them lock the gate. You don't have gate man in that place.
I don't have him.
There's a gate man house.
There's no gate man house.
They need to build a small gate man house. All right. You have a gate man, so that gate can be locked every time.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. right, let's see what you make of this story. For Mayo, it says, my own suggestion is after she won, she should sell off the house and start a new life elsewhere. That man no look like person, where court fee handle. And no spiritual case for court. If you know, you know. IYK. Samela Court says, women struggle to build their homes but end up owning nothing. Legal protection really matters. So more reactions to this one come from Faith. It says, losing a husband is hard enough, but to lose your home and dignity to in-laws is wicked. Thank God for activists like Harrison Gwamishu and the DSVA, that's the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency in Lagos, stepping in fast. No woman should fight grief and harassment at the same time. So Faith says. Uncle Odin says the family you are marrying into is more important than the man or the woman you are marrying. This can never be oversaid or overemphasized. Me too, I have to raise my voice because may we marry well. Well, the federal government has inaugurated an interministerial committee to strengthen the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service (NAQS) with the aim of boosting agricultural biosecurity, facilitating international trade, and increasing non-oil export. The committee, inaugurated in Abuja on behalf of the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, will coordinate efforts across key government agencies to improve Nigeria's agricultural quarantine system and align it with international standards. Now, the minister said the move is expected to reduce the rejection of Nigerian agricultural export costs by non-compliance with international sanitary and phytosanitary requirements, a challenge that has cost the country billions in lost revenue. The committee has also been tasked with reviewing proposals to strengthen NAQ's operational capacity, improve infrastructure, and recommend sustainable funding mechanisms. Speaking at the event, Comptroller General of NAQ, Dr. Vincent Isegbe, described the inauguration as a major step towards protecting Nigeria from transboundary pests and diseases, enhancing food security, increasing foreign exchange earnings, and improving the country's competitiveness in global agricultural export. All right. From there, we have a final story for the day, and this one would be that a viral video showing a somewhat lavish breakfast served to United States soldiers has sparked widespread reactions from Nigerians on social media, and we have many of us online drawing comparisons to the feeding conditions of Nigerian army and troops. The footage, which has been widely shared online, features a breakfast spread including eggs, sausages, pancakes, fresh fruit, and other meals served to American military personnel. And as you can guess, the video has triggered conversations about the welfare of soldiers, with many Nigerians praising the level of care provided to U.S. troops while questioning the quality of meals and welfare available to members of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Now, some users have been quick to argue that better welfare, including quality nutrition, boosts morale and operational effectiveness, while others are trying to caution against making direct comparison, and they are noting that the significant difference in defense budget, economic realities, and military funding between the two countries could be responsible to this. I'll bring you in. Let's see how you're responding and reacting to this. On X, under this, let's see your thought. Daniel Rega says, Nigerian soldiers, on the other hand, have reportedly complained about their poor feeding conditions time and time again. And if I remember correctly, a soldier was also disciplined for bringing this to the limelight. Here is the American government making sure their line of defense are well fed, at least, but the Nigerian government can't even guarantee the same. Absolutely pathetic. Joe for Jesus says there is nothing greater than a country that works. Few months ago, I watched a video of the rubbish they are feeding our gallant soldiers, sacrificing their lives at the battlefront. My heart ache and I weep for Nigeria. A country that doesn't value its human resource capital will never grow or succeed. No wonder Nigeria has lost and is still losing its greatest minds to countries that work. Away from Joe for Jesus, this user says our soldiers are allergic to this lifestyle. It purges them to eat a meal that's this sumptuous. If not, tell me why they have not reacted. Why them won't hang Justice Crack when he spoke out for them. This user, Ambulate, says, if they can serve this in Nigerian army, believe me, we plenty will go join army. Most Nigerians' problem is just daily bread, and government have failed to give that. And please, when this improvement comes, I'm very, very open to becoming a Nigerian army officer, All right, everyone. Thanks a million for being a part of Kakaaki Social today. I'm Rena OBO on social media, and we are AIT_online. As I would always say, remember that you can always tag us to the stories that you want us to highlight on this program. As our socials, signing out, Adora and Kunle will come for the rest of the program.
Kakaaki or Rapjoy or Leash Taste.
Excuse me, ma. This your 100% Nigerian. Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair? Since your landlord just increased rent, I still for this one separately on money points. No, you say you save on money points? Yes. This madam money points here, the array of Yadria is target savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is this savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact.
Jennifer, money points save as you transact. Money points fixed savings and money point target savings.
Madam, why did I tell you not contribute to it? What she said? You go give your money to Adaku to stay. You see money point accounts there. You don't go open a savings account. Now Adaku you shoot. I beg everybody inside this myself. No. Oh yeah, bring out your phone and download the money point app now. Even you. What are you waiting for? Download the money point banking app now. And start saving the bank you can trust.
Money Point, made for your progress.
New chapter in political discourse. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you've trusted on Raybar Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as political platform debuts on your screen, bringing deeper analysis, sharper debates, and the voices shaping our nation's future right into your screens. From policy and politics breakdowns to real-time discussions with key stakeholders, this is more than a program. It is where opinions are tested, truths are uncovered, and the people's voice is heard. Join seasoned hosts and expert guests as they tackle the issues that define our democracy. No filters, no distractions, just real talk. Political platform now on AIT, 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday. Stay informed, stay engaged, be part of the conversation.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. You are watching Kakaaki, the African Voice, this Thursday morning, and Kakaaki Social is done and dusted. Time for us to go into our second conversation for this morning. We did tell you that we'll be talking about healthcare, and our focus is on a new and fast-growing approach to staying healthy. It's called holistic functional medicine, and it's a modern healthcare approach focusing on root cause resolution, personalized testing, and a systems biology approach to treat the whole person rather than just masking the symptoms. So we'll be talking about nature first, drug last this morning on the program. Our guest is Dr. Kingsley Kabari, who is a holistic functional medicine expert and founder Kabari Wellness Institute, joining us here in the studio now. Good morning.
It's great to have you.
Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning. What is holistic functional medicine and how different is it from conventional medicine?
Well, holistic functional medicine is, when a patient come in and they say, well, I have a headache, right? We don't say, okay, what medicine can we give you for that headache? We want to know why you're getting that headache, because that headache is a signal from your body that something is going wrong somewhere. So we trace it to the root cause of the problem, than just say, go take this medicine to help suppress your headache.
So what you're saying is that instead of taking an analgesic,
correct,
to take away the headache,
correct,
you will track,
yes, where the headache is coming from.
Of the headache.
Yeah. For example, sorry.
Okay, go on.
If you have headache, let's say on the right side of your face, okay, let's say here, you have headache there, here just paining you for whatever reason. We have, most of the time we trace it that something is going on with your stomach. Okay, maybe your stomach is not making enough hydrochloric acid, or something is going on with your stomach. There's an issue with your stomach. For us to effectively, as holistic care practitioner, we have to trace it. We do our assessment to see what's going on. And once we fix what's going on with the stomach, you will never see that headache again until something else comes up. If it's on the left side, most likely we trace it to we can trace it to your gallbladder. Something's going on with your gallbladder. So whatever, any of the symptoms that you do get, is your body sending you a message that something is wrong somewhere. So you don't have to take medicine to tell it to shut up, but you're trying to go to the root cause of it. And that's where the natural first, drug last philosophy comes from, where we actually trace it to the root cause of the problem.
All right, so if I get you correct, now with conventional medicine, they put you through several tests.
Correct.
And, ask you to go for lab examinations through blood works.
Yes.
How is this done?
Well, we also look at blood work, because holistic functional medicine is not just you coming into our clinic and we do our assessment, we look at blood work. We actually order a comprehensive blood work, okay, because we want to know everything about this patient, what is going on. So we look at blood work, and if we need to order specific blood work, we actually work with, because we work hand in hand with conventional medicine.
Okay.
We work hand in hand with them. We just look at things differently than they do.
Holistic.
Yes, that's why it's holistic. And so we also do a blood chemistry analysis. So we look at the blood work, and not many things are going to show up in the blood work. Our blood work shows late stage of disease, when something is late, when the damage has been done. That's what blood work is going to show. Blood work is not going to show most of the time early stage. So you could have something going on. So the combination of doing blood work, combination of doing, if we need CT scan, MRI, X-ray, if we also need to do tissue mineral analysis, which we take your hair sample and we send it to a lab, because the hair sample holds more clue about your health, your wellness, than blood work. Blood work can change between morning and evening. So if I do blood work now, the value could say this. If I do blood work 6 hours later, the value could say something different. That's why when you're in an emergency room, sometimes doctors will do multiple blood work to see if things have changed. When we do tissue mineral analysis, it actually, we track weeks to months of information that are actually taking place inside your cells, and we can determine any kind of chronic issues or what is going on and why is this patient getting sick. Yes.
Now, can you talk to us about the handshake between what you do and conventional medicine?
Well, what we do on conventional medicine is the handshake there is, let's say for me, by trade I'm a chiropractor, okay? Then I became a holistic functional medicine specialist, which covers anything holistic approach to healthcare. We work hand in hand with conventional medicine professionals, like my wife, my wife's an OBGYN, okay, and the hospital she work with, I work with them. They send me patients back and forth, okay, because not everything that they can handle medically, so we have to tap into the holistic things. I work with a cardiologist, I work with orthopedic, neurosurgeon, all specialists, because if a cardiologist is working with a patient, that patient would need to be optimized nutrition-wise. Okay, so they tap into a holistic functional medicine specialist who understand nutrition,
herbal therapy and other ways of addressing the issue than just taking drugs, because drugs can only go so far. So we do work hand in hand. And when we order the blood work that we do, we order through the conventional medicine, and we also send a copy of the blood work to our patient's primary care physician also too, and we communicate from holistically, this is our finding, this is what we found, and we want you to know about it. Then the primary care physician or the specialist will then understand what the patient is doing. We all work together and monitor to make sure our patient is feeling better.
Okay, so if I get the insights there,
Yes.
but I'm also thinking about how novel this may sound to certain persons, especially, for instance, in Nigeria.
Yes.
How do you intend to sort of also step down literacy on this type of medicine? Because whether we like it or not, people are used to conventional medicine.
Correct.
For decades. And what you're saying is quite novel for some. How do they get to encounter? It's the center for such practice, very popular, yet enough for people to see that as an alternative.
Well, we are offering that in Nigeria now. This is new in Nigeria, I understand. We did our very first seminar in Port Harcourt back in May, and we drew a large crowd of people. So now we're doing our second seminar because of the response that we got from people, and we know there's a big interest in this approach to healthcare. We know that I have to do one right away. So I pick Abuja. So we're doing one in Abuja this Saturday at the Barcelona Hotel. Okay, and we're trying to create an awareness and educate the masses about what holistic functional medicine is about, because we are not doing anything that have not been done before. We just adding science-based approach to natural remedies, to tradition, to what have been done from the beginning of time. You know, we are not saying don't go see your medical professional.
Yes.
We are saying combine both, you get better results. Okay, we are not against drugs. We're just encouraging that always pick nature first. Maybe the issue that you have going on could be addressed by taking beet. Okay, through research we know beet is a nitric oxide, is a natural nitric oxide that help your body open up the blood vessels so you get better circulation. Many people that have hypertension have poor circulation. Right? So from a holistic standpoint, we can figure out maybe what you need is eat more beet, or maybe garlic. And we all know the benefit of garlic. So we are not recommending anything outside of the norm. We just backing everything we're doing with science, that we know that garlic helps with circulation, heart issues, hypertension, and all this. But we don't just say do it. We try to figure out what is the cause of it and recommend the right remedy from our standpoint to help. So there's a lot of educating the people about our concept and where we are coming from, how we come to the conclusion of this.
So it means that there's no one-size-fits-all remedy to anything.
There's no one-size-fits-all, because if you look at it, just the car that you drive have about 42,000 parts that makes that car, right? You, on the other hand, you have trillions of cells in your body, trillions, that have to communicate every single time with each other. So you can function, so you could be well, so you could sit, so you can talk to me. If those cells stop communicating, it's not going to go very well. Like, why do they stop communicating? So we have to trace to the root cause of it. Do you have underlying issues? Do you have pathogens? Do you have parasites? Do you have fungus? Do you have bacterial infection? Do you have viruses? These things can live in your body for decades and you will not even know. And it could also be the underlying cause of your issues that you have been trying to fix, but nothing can seem to fix it. But we could trace it to the root cause of it, and because every underlying issue you have different approach. Okay, we know that again, I go back to garlic, and we all know garlic is very effective in fighting viruses. We all know it supports the body in more than 500 ways. Maybe it could be part of the remedy. We just say eat more garlic. We also know the effectiveness of our popular leaf, bitter leaf, what it does to your body. We may recommend that this is going to help this condition because we have scientific evidence to prove that bitter leaf is going to help with this in conjunction with something else. Okay? And one great thing about being a holistic functional medicine specialist, we also look for dosages too as well. It's not one It's not one template or one size fits all, okay? The dosage that you may need to fix your health condition may be different than the one that you need. If you take more than what you need, you get the opposite effect. Instead of getting the benefit of it, you are now taxing the body more in the wrong way, in the wrong direction. So we also help guide you, say you may need 5 cloves of garlic, you may only need 2. And if you do that, your body will respond very favorably in no time. So,
now, quite interesting. I mean, it just takes my mind to the demography of young people.
Yes.
I do also know that, talking about the practice of holistic medicine, countries like China, for instance, and India, and maybe Thailand and Germany are very conversant with this kind of routine, holistic alternative. But it's also wearing in Africa. And I'm asking this because you've also shown concern about the irregularity of young people coming up with diseases often associated with much older demographic. How can this also be one of the measures to begin to perhaps advocate for more people to look inwards and look at health alternatives? Because you say the blood works often show up the diseases much later on
yes.
in the body. So how do we look at this as a mainstay alternative?
Yeah, my grandfather passed away at 96. I had a lot of friends here in Nigeria that passed away at 30-something and 40, and it's quite sad. So the life expectancy is declining badly. And a lot of that has to do with, our habits now is not as good as what it used to be. We eat more processed food. We don't get good sleep. Our environment, there's a lot of toxins in our environment. But whatever toxins in the environment gets into your body, and your body holds it like a sponge, right? So for young people, they have to be not only they have to take care of the environment, they have to be very proactive about their health. They have to get checkup. Don't wait until you cannot move anymore before you understand that you have to go for checkup. Go see a doctor, let the doctor check you. Try to build a relationship with a trained, holistic, functional medicine specialist and also a medical doctor, because with that team combined and you listen to their advices, you can greatly improve the quality of your life. You don't want to wait until it is too late, because we know at certain age, certain disease becomes more common and you're more prone to die from it. But you don't have to die at 30-something. You don't have to die at 40-something. The body is very resilient. We know this, okay? But if somebody is dying young, something is wrong somewhere, The issue may have started last year or 2 or 3 years ago. That you don't want to play game with your health. You want to be proactive. You want to be proactively get checked up, no matter who you are. If you neglect your health, money cannot buy health. We all know that. Okay, money cannot buy health. But what money can help you do, help you have access to good health. And what we are doing here in Nigeria is to promote this holistic functional medicine approach that we are promoting. I have never heard anyone anywhere, I live in America for close to 30 years now, and I'm a Nigerian man too as well. No one has ever filed for bankruptcy because they were practicing wellness, okay? We know people who have filed for bankruptcy because of medical bills, okay? So it's not that expensive to practice wellness. It's a habit that you have to every day and be proactive about it. And for young people, this is so important because, dying young is not an idea where we should.
Dr. Ferrari, somebody is watching us right now and is wondering, who is this man?
What inspired?
And what kind of expertise does he have?
Okay.
So talk to us about you. Who are you?
Okay.
And I'm sure you didn't drop from the sky.
I do not.
You didn't drop from the sky. So tell us about you.
Well, my name is Dr. Kingsley Kabari. I live in New York. I have 3 practices. I have 3 wellness institute. Okay, one in upstate New York, and one in the Finger Lakes of New York, and I have one in Georgia. And before I became a holistic functional medicine specialist, I was an exercise specialist. I was in fitness, and I've always get people in shape, and I deal with all this. I've also worked as a cardiac rehab specialist, which means when somebody has a heart attack and they've gone through the whole surgery, they come see us and we actually train them, get them back to normal, where they can actually function. So I did that. Then I learned about chiropractic care. The reason why I choose chiropractic care is because I was so interested in how I can combine natural medicine, okay, and conventional medicine. And I know if I go to the medical part, I am not going to have that training in natural medicine. The chiropractic part is going to lead me there. So I become a chiropractor. Now, for those who don't know about chiropractors are professionals, doctors who specialize in managing any kind of musculoskeletal issues. Any kind of pain that you have, we can get you out of that pain using manual therapy. We understand how the body works. Okay, we know what to do to get you out of that. So that's being a chiropractor. So I wanted to further my own training to see how, because it doesn't stop there. Now I can handle all musculoskeletal issues. How can I deal with the systems of the body? And because everything works as one, everything is interconnected. So I further my education to be a holistic functional medicine specialist, studying herbal therapy, nutrition, hormone, chronic disease, and how to optimize patients so their body can heal, to give the body a chance to heal. So that's how I dive into the holistic functional medicine specialist. And my center, which is Kabari Wellness Institute, is a one-stop shop for all your health and wellness needs. Mm-hmm. So we have a med spa that handles, which is run by my wife, Dr. A. Kabari. She's a gynecologist. And so she handled that aspect. She handled the medical part of the Kabari Wellness Institute. I handle the holistic part of Kabari Wellness Institute. So we are a team. Yeah. So about me again, I extensively study nutrition. When we say nutrition, it's not just saying, well, go eat bitter leaf because it's good for you. Why is bitter leaf good for you? So we dive deep, we look at all the minerals in your body, how they all interact and correct different things. We all know that zinc in the body is important and is involved in over 500 processes in the body, okay? You don't just learn that as another profession, you dive deep. So I dive deep into understanding how all the minerals help the body. I also dive deep to understand how all the vitamins, herbs, how they all work together to help you optimize you so your body have a chance of fighting off any pathogen that you may have going on. So that is it about me. Now we're bringing it to Africa. We're starting in my home country, Nigeria.
Yeah. Tell us about it, because you'll be holding this weekend some conversation.
Yes. So this weekend at the Barcelona Hotel in Wose 2. Yes. Yeah. So I'm introducing this to Abuja, which is going to be based on just the holistic functional medicine. We're going to do some consultations. Okay. We encourage attendees to come in.
What time?
It's going to be at 10 a.m. So they could bring in their supplement, their lab work, their medications, everything. We're going to do some consultations there and kind of guide them the right way and educate them about holistic functional medicine. My wife is going to handle, Dr. A. Kabari is going to handle the medical aspect of things, talking about women's health, because that's what she specializes in, and trying to help guide them into the right direction. Then next week, August 5th in Port Harcourt, we're also having the second series of our seminar that we're having. It's going to be on kidney health and diabetes and hypertension. Okay. And we're going to have that in Port Harcourt August 5th next week.
All right, you're quoted as having expressed concern with the way young people are coming down with illnesses traditionally associated with much older people. Mm-hmm. We have kidney failure, we have hypertension in young people, and all other kinds of things are happening to young people now. So what exactly do you think is wrong here? Why are younger people now getting infected or affected by these illnesses?
How well you live and how long you live is about 1/4 genetics and 3/4 lifestyle and behavior. So the behavior of young people nowadays is not what it used to be. Again, we talked about chronic diseases that are left undetected or not taken care of early on. We talked about environment toxin. We've talked about lack of sleeping. and not practicing health, waiting until something is at the end stage before we take action. That's how we turn our preventive. We always say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay, so young people need to understand this and know that anything that affects the kidney, okay, part of our approach is looking for a root cause of it. When somebody have kidney disease or kidney failure, okay, I have worked with nephrologists who specialize in managing kidney diseases, and we have actually gotten people off dialysis, get them to where their kidneys are functioning so much better. It all comes down to nutrition. Okay, because if the patient has an underlying issue, let's say they have a fungus infection that's been there for 20 years and now it's really affecting their kidney, we have to get rid of that fungus. It doesn't matter what we do, it's not going to solve it. So educating young people to be proactive about their health, seek answers, and not wait until something is too late. Don't say, oh, I feel fine, I'm okay. Don't ride on the idea that I'm young and I'm okay. Get yourself checked out. You'll be amazed how well and how long you will live, because that is where the true wealth lies, your health.
Indeed.
Okay, now, talking about wellness.
Yes.
Nature first, drug last.
Correct.
Is the name you've tagged your wellness event
yes.
About. How did you come to this, it's like a quote, really. Nature first,
yes.
Drugs last.
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with eat your food as drugs or something like that?
No, it doesn't. We all know that food is medicine, correct? We all know that what you eat determines how well you will live.
Absolutely.
So instead of some people fixing their nutrition, they run to drugs to answer their health issues. Okay, if you correct certain lifestyle, okay, if you let's say sometimes our patient will come and they have all these health issues that nobody knows what to do with them, right? Depending on what they have going on, if I recommend, I want you to detox. Detox, we put you on the right diet, right? Not medication, right diet, not supplement, right diet. We realize that 80% of the issues are fixed. So it would have been fixed in the first place if they didn't dive into conventional medicine and spend a lot of money, or just want to take a bunch of supplements that they are not sure of how it works to see if it's going to help them. But come down to maybe correcting some lifestyle behavior. So we truly believe in the nature first, drug last. And if you are going to go more, since supplements are supposed to fill in the gap, it's not supposed to replace food, and it's not supposed to replace medication. It's supposed to fill in the gap what you're lacking. And that's why the nature first, drug last comes. Drug is more advanced. Drug is for your body to process medication out of your system. It uses nutrients, right? So you become nutritionally deficient by when you take drugs. Not that drug is bad. You want to work with your primary care to take it when it's appropriate, when the drug is appropriate. Not just people just take it because they think it's going to help, and they're not even working with their medical doctor team to see if they need to be on that drugs or not. They just buy from the store. Yeah.
Okay, so just before we let you go, is there any age, determination for anyone who wants to seek holistic wellness? And then what's your message to Nigerians?
There's no age, actually. I work with, for example, I work with women who are trying to get pregnant. Once we optimize their body, they were able to, conceive. Then we start working with their young ones. Once they reach a certain, I think the youngest patient that I've seen about 5 months old, and we just, because, kids do get sick. They do get sick, and we want to optimize them. So I work with their mom, and the oldest I work with is about 96 years old. We have a sip.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead. It's part of wellness.
Part of holistic. Sorry about that. Thank you.
So you're better now.
I feel better now. So my message to Nigeria, a country that is having a very high incline of chronic diseases, it's going to be very difficult to thrive forward. It's going to be very difficult to grow. it's going to be very difficult to try to achieve what we need to achieve. So my message to Nigeria is, again, talk to your medical team, build relationship with a holistic care professional, train holistic care professional and your medical group, prevent, get checkup, and practice healthier lifestyle behavior.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Kingsley Kabari, we've been speaking to him, talking about holistic functional medicine, and of course he's an expert in that. He's a founder of the Kabari Wellness Institute, which of course he's been talking about in the last 20-25 minutes thereabouts. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to have to leave it there, and we do hope that we'll get to talk about this more.
Please pronounce that with a chiropractic.
Chiropractic. Yeah, with your hands, chiropractic.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Kingsley Kabari. Have a great day and all the best in your event. And that's where we call it a day on Kakaaki, the African Voice 2, this Thursday morning. It's been nice doing this with you. Join us again on Friday for another edition of the program. Kuna Dewale signing out. Stay safe, whatever you do, wherever you go.
The words of Dr. Kabari, true wealth lies with your health. My name is Adora Sidney Jack. See you again. Goodbye.